G'day, Bomber fans. Tough loss, really tough loss. That's 2 in a row now. It's the first time all year we've lost consecutive games. We drop away from the top 4 by the time our next game comes around. We've been handed a little bit of a reality check just in time for our bye. It's not all doom and gloom. There are some positives. We genuinely could have won the last 2 games, but we didn't. There are a few issues we need to address as a club. It's going to be a big review, so get your votes in down below, including the role player of the match. Let's just get into it. Quick recap. The first term was really frustrating. We carried over our goal-kicking virus that we caught in the Gold Coast back to Melbourne. Missed heaps of easy shots, not just gettable, but easy shots. The Blues kicked some rippers. Really deflating to have good start, but not convert your chances. We were down by 16 points at the first break. The second was looking a little bit more worrying. They started to get out to a dangerous lead, a couple of dangerous leads. They led the main break by 32 points, but for a moment there, it looked like it could creep out to a little bit more. They definitely had more of the play in that second quarter, despite some individuals finding their feet in the contest for us. The third was probably the most frustrating quarter of the night, despite it being our best. We were completely dominant all around. We were all over them, but we just couldn't hit the scoreboard. We kicked 3 goals, but really, it should have been 5 or 6 if we were efficient up forward. I'll talk about that a bit later, though. All the Blues needed to do in the final term was hold on. We managed to rally and make their fans nervous for a minute or two there, but unfortunately, they were just too good and professional in the end. The Blues won, and deservedly so. We definitely had it in us to get the win, but you'd be silly to say they didn't deserve the 4 points. So let's talk about this game. Why did we lose? How did we lose? And what could we have done better as a team? Well, to start with, we unfortunately have to give credit where credit is due, because Carlton are just a much better side than us right now. They're deservedly the new team below the Swans in second place, and you can safely say they could stay there. We did feel like imposters being that high in second place. We've been impressive, but we were shown what a great team looks like last night. They were simply more professional, more efficient. They were harder at the footy. They were really good, as they have been for most of this season. They were well drilled. They had individuals go insane that I didn't think could. Elijah Hollands killed us. Alex Chincotta shut out Merritt. They weren't carried by Walsh and Cripps and Curnow. It was a full team effort across the board. They were just better than us in the end, and that's not a surprise. They were always going to be the team to rise to the occasion. They are more poised for a premiership push than us, and this was a finals-like game. If we want to win a final, we need to be like they were last night. Credit to the Blues. They were very, very good, which pains me to say. As for us, it was just the exact same story as it was last week against Gold Coast. The game was there. It was there for us to win. We could have won it, but we were just not good enough in the forward half of the ground. It's really frustrating to be playing well, because we did play well. It's frustrating to play well and not get reward for it. Our forward line setup was fantastic to start the year, the synergy between midfield and attack, but that's gone away completely. It makes no sense how we could have 20 more inside 50s but lose by 5 goals. And it's easy to look at the stats sheet and see guys like Langford and Wright and Stringer underperforming as they have been the last few weeks, but the entries were just woeful at times, and it hurts to have all the momentum but just cough it up to them, because we don't have that chemistry with our forwards that we have had, we even had a few weeks ago. And the thing is, it was there in patches. The third quarter comes to mind when we started to lower our eyes and find space inside 50, but we just couldn't hit targets enough in there consistently. And I hope this is the main focus in the next fortnight. We have a bye to rest and recoup. We need to find out how we can make the most of our inside 50s, because right now we are a high inside 50 count team but can't seem to score from it. It's becoming a worry for me. It's annoying. It's frustrating. We have some tough games around the corner, and I can't see us winning much if we're this poor going forward. I look at our best forwards: Wright, Langford, Stringer. Those are the 3 that come to mind. Those 3 have kicked 2 goals between them in the last 2 rounds, and that's just not good enough. And of course, accuracy in front of goals. This is just ridiculous. It's bizarre to me. I don't know how we've become so poor in front of the sticks now. Round 1, we were lethal. Against the Dogs, we were lethal. Actually, since that Bulldogs game, by the way, we haven't kicked under 10 behinds in a match, and it's become a real issue. We're letting teams off the hook and losing momentum because we can't kick a goal from easy chances. Last week, it lost us the game. This week, it gave Carlton the early lead. We had more scoring shots than them, more shots on goal, but lost by 5 goals. I no longer feel comfortable seeing us take a mark inside 50, because the odds are we are just giving them possession back and getting a single point on the scoreboard from it. And I know some will say that it's Carlton putting us in tough positions, but it's not. Menzies, Martin, Cox, Langford, they all miss chances they should kick, and that's just me naming players off the top of my head. There are more. That's already 4 goals, though, that we should have kicked. We simply cannot let teams off easy like this in September. There's nothing more deflating than dominating around the ground, struggling to get a mark inside 50, and then when you finally do get that mark inside 50, you blow a chance because of set shot accuracy. 5 goals, 9 from set shots tonight. That last night, there was 1 out on the full as well, I believe. The more you miss, the more pressure it puts on the next player taking his shot, and you felt that early. Those misses made the next shots all the more meaningful, so when those missed, it just piled on. It's become a bit of a plague, and it's one we need to see fixed, to see cured. I thought we weren't bad in the guts. It was tough when De Koning was having a career game. He was huge, by the way, De Koning. He was probably one of, if not the best on ground, especially late in the game, but we weren't completely dominated like I thought we could be in the midfield. I thought our defensive work was great, and our pressure was strong throughout. Merritt brought himself into the game through his heat and the contest, even while being tagged, and Durham, Caldwell, and Perkins were really decent at limiting the impact of their better mids, Setterfield as well, I should say. Walsh and Cripps weren't close to their best on ground, neither was Kerno or Mackay, and that's surprising to me, losing by 5 goals and those guys not really having that impact. We lost clearances by 6, contested possessions by 15. We were always going to lose these battles. They're a better midfield group than us. They're stronger, they're harder at it, but I thought we did well to at least make it close. It was promising because we are still missing Parrish, we're still missing Draper. Setterfield was clearly hurt again. I don't know what we're going to do with him, by the way. We're clearly at our best and still keeping up with better teams, even with Setterfield not playing at his best in there. I thought the midfield was not an issue last night, so that's a tick because we had numbers down. We had a player down during the game, so it could have been a lot worse than it was. A bit of a worry for me is how easy it is to score against us if you get past the halfway point of the field, because we do defend the ground really well when we have the ball in our 50. We managed to get 20 more inside 50s because of that than them. We were really strong at defending defensive exits, but when it got past our wall that we have set up, we were really easy to score against. It's 41 inside 50s and 20 scores. That's not a very good rate. That's for Carlton, by the way. We were only in the game because we kept their injuries down. If we allowed them to get to 50 or 55 like they average, they probably would have put on a big score. I did say that they are a low inside 50 count team, but they're quite effective when they get it in there. But we should have done better than we did. They scored quite a lot from their defensive half, and that worries me for when we play teams like Geelong or Sydney again. Teams who are known for their scoring from the back half, because Carlton aren't. So although they didn't pile on the goals, I still think it's a bit of an issue because it shows we are still pretty leaky back there. It's not on the back six. I think there are a few reasons why we are still not defensively sound, but we at least have plenty of time to fix that. I thought we controlled the game pretty well after half-time. We were down by quite a lot. We managed to regroup and get back into it a bit. The scoreline probably flatters them a little bit. It was more about polish than anything, but I thought we controlled the uncontested footy well, and it looked like we were messing around with it at times on TV, but I think that just speaks to how well Carlton set up behind the ball. And I've seen some criticise our ball use in general, not just going forward, but around the ground. But I think we gave ourselves so many chances to create opportunities. We would be looking at this game very differently if we had just a little bit more polish going inside 50 and for goal. But around the ground, I thought we were all over them. We had almost 60 more uncontested possessions. We had 20 more, or almost 20 more inside 50s, 35 more disposals, but around 15 less turnovers. Those are numbers that usually indicate a win. If we won this game, I think we'd be talking about how impressive we were at controlling the ground. Really, it was that first half that set us up for failure. We were the better team in that second half. Carlton fans will agree. The issue is they were just a lot more polished in the first, and that's when we were unfortunately pretty poor. And that's what it came down to for me, that first half, even that first quarter, to be honest. I think there have to be some serious question marks around our team and whether or not we are setting it up to be the best it can be each week. I'm not saying we lost this match at selection, but a few things puzzled me a bit watching. I don't know why Sartas is our regular sub of choice. I'm not trying to criticise a kid. I've had to back him a few times this year. I just don't think he's an impact player. He's coming on the ground for injuries and not really having much impact. I'm starting to wonder whether Nick Martin is a defender or whether we could use his ball use up the field. And I don't know how we play Peter Wright with one ruck, because he looks cooked whenever he's up forward because of the work he's doing while rucking and also in defence a lot, which is where he's been. I don't know how we effectively inject Stringer into the game, because he's becoming a bit of a liability in the centre at times with his defensive positioning. And while talking about defence, I don't know what Kelly's role is. I feel like he is at his best when playing down back on smaller forwards. I'm almost more excited to see us line up against players like Charlie Cameron or Isaac Rankin, because I know Kelly will have a role, but when we don't play on those players, we keep using him in different areas. A lot of the time, we're having him play multiple roles in one game. Will Setterfield, I don't know if he's going to be right to play consistent footy this year. Do we just put him on ice for an extended period, because we can't keep having him in and out of the team, losing numbers mid-game? I don't know, it's tough. Luckily, we have some players returning after the bye that will fix things a bit. I'm bloody keen to see Dersma return, because our wing stocks right now are definitely not thriving. Look, all in all, it is a loss. It is a deflating loss. I'm not very happy. It's a bit of a reality check. We were shown what a great team looks like, but we also showed to our fans and to the AFL that we are genuinely a pretty good side this year. That is the worst result in our 7 or 8 or 9 week patch since the Port loss. A 26-point loss against the second place side. That shows that we are not just competitive but good at footy. We are set to fall out of the 4 with our bye, but no one thought we would be contending for the top 4 at this point at the start of the year. We are ahead of schedule, we're playing good footy, and I think it's important to note that there is still half a season left to play. This time last year, we beat the Blues and everyone said their season was over. They were booed off the field. They played in a prelim months after that. So this isn't season over like many are saying. It could get a lot better, it could get a lot worse. I actually think the season really starts after the bye for clubs. This is where form matters, so let's use this loss as a lesson and improve from it. Hopefully we come out firing in a fortnight when we return. For now though, let's get onto the votes. One vote to Sam Durham, who was really strong in the midfield. I thought his defensive work in particular was really underrated. 2 votes to Jordan Ridley, speaking of defence. He was rock solid down back. He had to play on Kerno at times, which was tough, but he did well to keep him down and also intercept as usual. He had 10 for the game high, I think. But 3 votes to Nick Martin, who really energised us last night. He led us 4 disposals, kicked 2 goals, played back, played 4. He played everywhere, really. He was giving us plenty, and he was the reason we looked so damaging at times in that second half. My role player is Jai Menzies. He was looking like he was facing a bit of a delisting after his injury early in the year. I saw many comments claiming he was probably the one out of favour at the club, but his work since returning has been great. He isn't playing as that natural small forward anymore. He's pushing high up onto the wing, even in defence sometimes. I thought his work on Sunday night was awesome. He had 7 intercepts, by the way. It's probably his best game in a long time for the club. Some players I considered putting in there. I thought Caldwell was good. I thought Merritt did really well to shake a tag. I was tempted to give Guelphy another role player vote. He's had a bunch this year. I thought Goldstein was good, but probably let decoding off the leash a little bit. There's a few others I'm definitely forgetting about. Hopefully you guys remember them. Leave your votes down below, including the role player. Tough to do after a loss, but there were some good performers in the team. That is that. Tough loss. Never fun losing to the Blues. Hopefully we get the chance to play them later in the year and enact revenge. For now, we focus on our next game in 2 weeks against the Eagles. Cheers for watching, everybody. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and go Bombers.